All right, here we go. Hey, welcome to the
Woo!
Implied Project. I am Tony Martinez with my lovely co-host Jamie Gaynor,
Hello.
and I am excited to have our special guest on today, Clair Marie. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. You're gonna have to excuse the poor lighting. I'm sitting in my van in a parking lot right now, so didn't have access to great lighting for this.
Yeah, no, but you know what's cool is after reading about you, this is exactly what I would expect. You know?
It's pretty fitting, I think, for sure.
Yeah, it's very appropriate.
I'm gonna need to know more about this.
Uh,
I don't think I know. Yeah, what am I missing? This is amazing.
Well, okay. For those of y'all that don't, I'm gonna have to look up bring up your website because there's definitely some videos we need to showcase for you. Um,
Yeah.
in fact, let me go ahead and show off one video real quick, and then that will kind of pretty much explain everything for you folks here. Okay, here's one. All right, let me go ahead and share the screen here, and here we go. Okay, this is Claire. This is what she does.
Gravity does most of the work, so you know.
Yeah, that is so cool.
So much humility. So are you at a location right now? Is that why you're in your van?
So I am actually in Austin, Texas right now. I'm in my van because
Nice.
that's what I travel in. And I'm in Texas visiting some family and
Okay.
kind of overlooked the video aspect of podcast. So that's why I'm in the van. Just poor preparation on my part.
Eh,
But I'm out here visiting family for the holidays, and then I have a big lingerie campaign that I'm shooting in Phoenix just after Christmas
nice.
before New Year's, and then heading to SoCal. So I live full time in the van, and I have for the past 8 years.
Wow.
So just travel around and pull off of things and do photos and all kinds of
That's
fun stuff.
awesome.
That is like I already have a crush on you. I have to admit, I have a crush on you. No, but that is so cool. Now you mentioned let's start from the beginning, okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because if I read correctly, you started this when you were 16, or
I did, yeah. So I saw a base jumping video when I was 8 years old, and I knew immediately that that was going to be something that I was going to be doing later
Mhm,
in life. I didn't think it was going to be so soon, but I pretty much relentlessly pursued it until I was able to make my first base jump when I was 16.
mhm.
And everything just kind
Wow.
of snowballed in a really good direction from there. I have a really strong personality when it comes to pursuing passions. And so I moved out of my house, I dropped everything, and started skydiving and base jumping full time when I was 16. And
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
So
now I'm
like
here.
just dropped out of school and just did it.
No,
Wow.
I didn't drop out of school. I actually finished school. I was
Okay.
homeschooled for my entire life until I went to college, and
Oh, okay.
so I did graduate from high school. I got my diploma. I was a part of like a charter program, so we still had to like do all of the work. I'm not your like what most people think of homeschooling is, oh, you just kind of like screw up and don't do stuff,
Yeah.
which is
And
not the
then
case at all.
and then 2020 happened and my kid became a virtual learner and I was like, "Oh, that's
Everyone's
not at all how
homeschooled
this
now.
goes."
Yeah, exactly. So I was homeschooled my whole life. I graduated high school when I was 16. I had already been in college for a couple years.
Wow.
I ended up getting my degree in social and behavioral science while I was working in skydiving and base jumping. So I kind of just took care of all of my business all at once so that I could just
Yeah.
pursue base jumping and filming and photo work from there.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's
So
amazing.
who exactly got you to do it? Like, I mean, you're 15, whatever, 16. Like,
So no one actually got me to do it. I had to convince someone to take me. Basically, I talked about base jumping to anybody who would listen. And one day, a friend gifted me a video, and it was a whole DVD of base jumping skydiving. And the guy had his email address on the back. And so I emailed him and I was like, what's up? I'm 16. I've never been skydiving. I've always wanted to base jump. And he originally told me no because he thought it was a prank, and then finally agreed to take me and kind of decided it was one of those like any attention is good attention kind of scenarios. And he was like, this is going to make waves, but I'm going to do it anyway. And yeah, so I made my first base jump at 10 o'clock at night off of a 480-foot power tower in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. So that was your first jump?
Yeah. Yep.
No training wheels. Like you did it at night because I'm assuming you can't see crap.
There was no moon. Could not see the ground. Jumping into an abyss. So it was looking back, I'm like, man, I'd be like scared to do that now. I can't believe I did it then. But the second that I landed, I knew that that was what I was going to do with, you know, the majority of my life, and just kind of relentlessly pursued it.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you started out, obviously your jump, that nighttime jump was your very first one.
Yep.
And like, what's going through your head as you're like standing there? And
I don't know. I think it's like trying to block out a lot, actually. I don't think that there's a lot going through your head. It's more just trying to make sure that there's nothing going through your head except for exactly what you're about to do, because there's such a low margin for error that you really have to be hyper focused in the moment, like 1,000%. It's kind of like a lazy man's Zen. Like it forces you to be right there. You're not thinking about anything else. And so in the air, once I did jump, I had a couple different thoughts, just because time got really weird, and I was fairly convinced that I had just killed myself when I jumped, because everything felt like it was taking way longer than the guy had told me it would. He was like, oh yeah, you're going to jump and you're going to throw this thing out of your hand, and within a second, it's going to open. And I remember jumping and being like, well, I already let go of that thing and it's not open yet.
Right.
Okay, still not open. I'm like, maybe I killed myself. But then I watched the video.
Yeah.
The video is like, oh, there she goes, and bam, my parachute opens like instantly. So really, it was just like my head that slowed everything down, and time didn't actually slow down.
That's nuts.
I'm like listening to this. I'm comprehending what you're saying. But at the same time, like, I'm honestly over here. Like, I'm like picking at my feet because I'm so nervous.
We can take you on a tandem base jump. They actually do tandem base jumps now. So if you ever get the itch, I can hook you up.
No, I'm good. Thank you. I have my own forms of adrenaline rush, but those definitely aren't it. I'm gonna leave that to the pros.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Nuts. Yeah, as far as so then you started with the jumping. Did you plan to make that a career?
I had always had intentions of making that a career. When I was younger, I had done some modeling stuff as well, so I knew that I could kind of supplement in that way. But I knew that base jumping and skydiving and the whole like action adventure sports in the whole was going to be more of my career path than anything else. And so I kind of like paved the way for myself in a sense, because there weren't very many people that were making that a career. And I was fortunate enough to be one of the few ones that was able to, make my full-time living from jumping. And I think it's just because I'm, stubborn.
Right. Well, how do you make a living from that? Like, I'm thinking like movies or whatever, they need stunt people, or of course sponsors, but like, I mean, exactly how do you get into the like actually making money from trying to kill yourself?
Well, luckily it's not trying to kill myself anymore. It's actually trying to live. But it's not one method of making a living. You have to be creative with it. And I think that's kind of where life has gone in general, where it's, most people, especially because of the pandemic now, it's like you're not making your income from one source anymore. You have to be creative. And I feel very fortunate because I kind of set myself up for this lifestyle, 16 years ago when I started jumping. where, you know, I don't lead a traditional lifestyle, and my income is not segmented into one area.
Yeah.
I do stunts for movies and commercials. I do demonstration jumps. I license footage. I do a lot of work behind the camera as well. I have sponsors. Yeah, so I just get really creative with it, and I don't get stuck on one way of making it work.
Wow.
Just kind of
And-
roll with the punches.
Yeah. Now, as far as the modeling, you mentioned you started that obviously younger, before you were 16.
Mhm.
But that seems more like the secondary thing that you're into as opposed to the jumping. But how did you get into that and all?
So I don't really think it's a secondary thing. I think that each thing has its moments where I can put more focus into it, and it kind of depends on where I'm at and what I'm doing. I like both equally as much. I love modeling. I love, you know, the work that I've been able to do with that. I love shooting. I'm a photographer as well, so I like exploring that side. I do a lot of self-portrait stuff as well. So for me, I just think that everything that I try to do in my life is some form of like a creative outlet.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be just like the income. It doesn't have to be one way of having a creative outlet. You know, you find all different kinds of ways to express yourself. And actually, this shoot that I have coming up for the lingerie campaign, I'm actually base jumping in it. So
That was
I
going
get
to be a question I had.
combine. I get to combine, you know, both of my passions kind of in one, and yeah, I'm excited about that.
You know who would be great? Agent Provocateur uses athletes a lot of times for like really unique campaigns. I would love to see them reach out to you. I mean, I love their stuff anyway, but
They're awesome.
that would be something. I don't know. Maybe you could like sell that to them even, because that's not something they've ever done. Like they've done like all kinds of athletes, but I don't think they've ever done anything like what you do. I feel like they would be privileged to work with your angle on this. That's pretty incredible.
It's pretty cool to be able to bring in so many different sides of it. You know, most people look at base jumping and they think that it's, you know, this crazy, fast-paced, high energy, kind of more masculine sport, and then being able to bring in, you know, the sexy, more sensual, like feminine side to it and combine them into one, I think is unique, because it doesn't happen often.
I love that.
Yeah. If you're allowed to say, like, I can't. What exactly are you going to be doing with this campaign? Like, how are you merging lingerie with the base jumping?
So basically, I just had to pick a location that would be fitting for both the approach, the hiking, because I'm going to be hiking in it, so I can't be like anywhere crazy public. And then the actual base jump, you know, with technical landing areas and the gear that I have to wear. So it was kind of a little bit of, I don't want to say a struggle, but it was a challenge to be able to pull all the parts together to find the right location and the right outfit. So, you know, nothing like falls out at an inopportune time. But yeah, so just being able to pull everything together has been really unique. And basically what I'm going to be doing is from start to finish, packing my parachute, doing the hike, doing the base jump, all in their gear. And it's, you know, it's for a campaign that is very focused on women empowerment. And so that just kind of fits the bill.
That's
I
cool.
love that. Wow.
Yeah. Now, and then that's just one thing you do. You obviously also do the mountain bike riding now.
Yep.
Or the free, what do you call it? Freestyle or?
We call it free riding.
Free riding. Okay, there you go.
Big mountain free riding. I was a mountain bike racer for a little while, and I loved it. I love bikes. I was doing really well with the racing, and then it just got to a point where if I was going to do any better, I would have to give up everything else in order to pursue that, and that's not really something I was interested in. So it riding has taken a little bit of a backseat over the last 2 years as I've focused on progressing as an artist with my photography and my videography, and then obviously continuing my other sports. But I do still ride, and I love it, and that'll always be a passion.
You're the most fascinating person we've had on here.
I know, it's crazy.
I mean,
It's
I love
crazy.
everyone, but this is such a unique angle. I feel like I just need to listen to you talk. I don't even have questions.
I'm curious, like I'm sure you've had because here's the thing about base jumping to me that it's like some of these other crazy things that people do. Like, how do you like typically if you learn to ride a bike, for example, you're gonna crash and burn every now and then, just learning.
Yeah.
You have that, you don't have that luxury with jumping. Like, have you ever had like I can't imagine that you haven't had really close calls.
So that's kind of a tricky question and like a double-sided deal. I believe that base jumping. Oh, hold on one second.
Sure.
Yep. Sorry, my partner just came and he needs to get a jacket out of the back. They're going to get us pizza.
Oh, nice.
Yum.
Yeah, I know. So I'm trying to like remember my train of thought. Can you rephrase the question again?
I'm assuming you've had some close call experience.
Yeah. So base jumping is one of those things where there is an inherent danger to it. Like it can absolutely be sketchy and there's a lot of factors to it, but it is pretty much only as dangerous as you're willing to make it. It's not something that you know, if you go out and jump, you're like, oh my God, I'm risking, you know, imminent death. It's gonna happen for sure. You know, it's a lot more thought out than that. And there are a lot of things that we take into consideration when jumping, and it's not just like go and huck yourself off of something, you know, like most people coin us as like adrenaline junkies or something like that. And it's absolutely not like that. There's so much thought and so much preparation that goes in behind every single jump, whether it is preparing your gear, packing it a certain way because of the height of the object, how you're approaching it, checking wind conditions, checking landing areas. There is 99.9% of what I do in my sports is preparation. And what you guys see is the final product of like, oh, look, there she goes and she runs and jumps off of something.
Okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it really does it looks spontaneous.
Yeah, exactly.
In my mind, I know it can't be right, but it looks spontaneous. It's made to look that way, which is like where my brain explodes from that, but it's much more calculated. That makes me, I'm less nervous because of that.
So just to give you like a little perspective, I've done over 1,000 base jumps. I've been jumping for just over 16 years. I'm currently in my 17th year. And I have had exactly 2 close calls and very minimal injury. And, you know, that's not to say that it's not possible. It's definitely possible, but I am very, very, very particular about the places that I jump and the people that I jump with and the conditions that I jump in. So, you know, there's a lot of thought that goes into it. And as much as it would be like nice to think of it as, you know, oh, she shows up and runs and jumps, like that's such a minute portion of what base jumping actually is. And it really teaches you a lot actually about enjoying the process and, you know, taking joy from the preparation, not just from the activity, because, you know, if it was only that brief moment of excitement, adrenaline, freedom, whatever you want to call it, the amount of work that goes into it really wouldn't be worth it.
I see.
Yeah. Here, let's go ahead and see another one of your videos here. I just pulled up. All right. Now, where is this? This is off. You're obviously at a bridge.
Yeah, this is in Twin Falls, Idaho. This is actually one of the only legal objects in the United States that, as far as bridges is concerned, that you can jump 24/7.
Wow.
Most people actually come out to this bridge to learn because you have a much larger margin for error where you're jumping over water. So if something went wrong, you would land in the water, you wouldn't pound into the ground. You have a wide open landing area. You can jump at midday, and it's kind of wild. Actually, there's, you know, massive amounts of traffic that are going on behind our back, and a lot of times you'll climb over the rail and people will like honk at you and
Wow.
a little bit extra.
All right, now can you describe? Okay, obviously you're throwing your that's your chute. I'm assuming that you're throwing up in the air, right?
So what I'm doing in this one is called a tweener, and I'm holding my pilot chute in my hand rather than having it stowed in the bottom of my container. And I'm actually kind of doing a backflip and throwing it in between my legs. It's just, you know, a fun little goofy trick that we like to do sometimes.
Wow,
I would
that's
never.
crazy.
I'm glad you. I would never have known that. That's amazing.
Yeah, you can see right there when I'm climbing over that little
Yeah.
pouch very back on the bottom. That's where that pilot chute that's in my hand would normally
Yeah.
be stowed.
Okay. Do you have a certain place that you've jumped that is special to you? That I don't know, that stands out from the rest for some reason?
That's a really difficult question for me. I feel like I've jumped
Yeah.
in some really unique places, and
Yeah.
I'm very much of the mindset of like you can take something positive and memorable from every situation and every
Yeah.
jump. So they're all unique and special, you know, to themselves.
Yeah.
I'd say probably the most strange place I've ever jumped was inside a tropical superdome in Germany. I was invited out to an event, and it was the old blimp hangar, I believe, and they had created a full-blown tropical oasis with like beaches and water slides and palm trees.
Wow.
And it was the middle of a Germany winter, so it was like pissing frozen rain like sideways outside, and I'm jumping from the rafters of a building inside in a bikini and landing on a beach.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
See, this part here of just, you know, the actual when you're shoots, you're just flying.
Mhm.
That is just amazing too.
Yeah, when you're actually coming down under the parachute.
Yeah,
Yep.
that is cool. That is
So
a
that jump is in Moab, Utah.
We just talked about that last week with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, a model that was there
It's beautiful.
last Sunday.
It's one of my favorite places. So I know I said that I live in the van and I have been doing this for the past 8 years, living on the road with like no home base. But my partner Bradley and I just bought 35 acres
I
of
was going to ask
raw.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we just bought property in southern Colorado, and so I'm only a couple hours from Moab now, which is like
Wow.
pretty awesome for me because Moab is one of the few places in the States where it's legal to jump as long as you're on BLM land.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Now tell us about this project because that fascinates me. This 35 acres of land to create some kind of.
So it's been my dream since I was a little kid. I didn't have like the normal, like, I'm gonna get married and have kids and the white picket fence. Like, my dream was to buy property, build a house, like, have a farm, and to have a like fully self-sustaining artist compound, a place where people can go and, you know, create and practice in their respective field, whether it's, you know, an athlete or an artist, and kind of just create this creatives compound. And I've talked about it for years and years and years, and I've looked at properties probably for the last 12 years. Everywhere I go, I'll like get online and like check to see what property is available. And it actually seemed really far off at the beginning of this year, and then all of a sudden this perfect piece of property popped up, and the stars aligned, everything worked out just right, and I was able to get the property with my partner Bradley, and we moved out of the van. In a sense, we bought a little like 18-foot travel trailer just for the winter time so we can get through the winter, and then starting in the spring, we're going to start building a full like functioning mechanic shop, and we have friends that weld, and I'm learning how to weld, and so we're going to do a live-in shop there first. We're building a full ride compound for Bradley. He rides dirt bikes. We're doing a compound for me for mountain bikes, and then Moab is just a couple hours away for base jumping. So building the dream slowly but surely.
Wow.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Where do you how do I phrase this? Well, I mean, because obviously this is your dream project, this piece of land, which I think I already can envision that would be like a badass like destination type of thing for a lot of people to go to, which I applaud you for. That's just an amazing feat, just even to get the land, because most people just don't do that. You know what I'm saying? They have a dream and they just don't do it.
Why. I understand why. It is a lot of work, and luckily I'm not scared of that. I've worked hard my entire life. I've been on my own, living on my own since I was 16. So the working to build it is something that is attractive to me. But I will tell you, the first day I bought the property, Bradley and I were working up in Montana on a film project, and so we were there for a month. The property was just sitting there. The night that we show up at like 3:00 in the morning, and there's like 20 cows on the property. And one of the neighbors was like grazing their cows out there. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And when I woke up in the morning, I woke up to a phone call from the irrigation company saying that they were going to turn the irrigation water off for the season. So I had to use whatever I needed that day. And I was like, well, shit, I don't know anything about irrigation except for the fact that I know that I need all of this dirt wet before they turn the irrigation off. So I figure out how to turn it on, and the second that I turn it on, I see like 15 geysers on the property. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm learning how to fix irrigation pipes today.
My
and
gosh.
spent the next like 3 days fixing irrigation pipes, a skill set that as an athlete and model and photographer never thought I would acquire, but I'm glad I know it now.
Right.
Wow.
It's just a constant learning process, and luckily I'm kind of more of a self-starter, and I like learning. I like figuring things out. I like problem solving, so it fits in well with my personality type, I feel like.
Wow. You're so dynamic. This is like amazing.
And now your partner, Bradley, you said? Is his name? Now, how'd you guys meet up?
We met on Instagram, actually. He's a base jumper as well, so we have a lot of mutual friends. We initially got connected on Instagram, and then when we met in person the first time, we just hit it off so well. And then I didn't really think that it was going to be like a one night kind of deal, but I was only in town for one night when we met the first time. And then we just so happened a month and a half later to both move into the same house in Colorado. We met in California. We both ended up in the same house, living in the same house in Colorado. And we started dating then. And 3 weeks later, we condensed everything and we started traveling in the van, just one van together. And we were supposed to do, I think it was like a month-long trip. I was going to help film a project for him where he does moto base, and he rides his dirt bike off big, jumps into base jumps. And we actually have a parachute for him. And so we were like, okay, well, let's go film this project. It's going to take 2 weeks to build, 2 weeks to film, and then we'll come back to Colorado. And that was almost 3 years ago. We just never went back. So we moved into the van for a quick trip, and then just the rest is history.
That's awesome, though. I mean, it's amazing, especially with someone with as unique a lifestyle as you have, to meet someone that just obviously everything just clicks.
He's the first person that I've ever met that can keep up with me on all levels, for sure.
That's great.
Yeah. So we complement each other well.
That's great.
Wow.
Now, I accidentally closed that page. 1 second here. Now I wanted to touch on your modeling, because obviously that's a big part of you, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And let me see here. Okay, well, like your most recent photo you just posted. Let me go ahead and bring that up. Okay. I actually liked it a lot.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's so a lot of the work that I do is self-portrait stuff now, just due to timing and, living out in the middle of nowhere. So that's actually a self-portrait on my property.
Oh, wow. So this is your property here?
Yep.
Wow. You said this was in California?
No, it's in Colorado.
Colorado. My bad.
Like the Four Corners area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know I actually posted a photo of you Here, let me. Here, I like this one.
Thank you. That one is in California, actually.
There was one that I posted of you on our. I like the perspective on this one.
Thank you. That's a self-portrait as well.
Really, that's good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I worked in front of the camera so much when I was younger, and I did a lot of implied nudes and some like nude climbing, and I was unnamed in a lot of it, and I loved it, and I loved that work, and I loved that form of expression, and it was something that really interested me farther than just being in front of the camera. It wasn't just like this, hey, I love being in front of the camera. I actually feel like incredibly awkward when I'm in front of the camera. Like that, that photo. But yeah, so I feel really goofy a lot of times. But I do enjoy that form of expression, and I was able to actually work with one of the photographers that I think I respect the most. His name is Dean Feidelman, and he does the Stone Nudes climbing calendars. And I'd worked with him as a model before on numerous occasions, and I kind of reached out to him and expressed my interest into, oh, that's a self-portrait too. Expressed my interest in learning the other side as well, and he immediately took me under his wing. And so having him as a mentor has done incredible things for the progression of, you know, the art that I create.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Now, are you at this actual like a? Did they just catch you in the moment, or was this an actual like photo?
So I was packing my parachute, and I knew that I needed some pictures of me packing. And so I actually just did all the settings on the camera and handed it to Bradley. And I was like, hey, will you just take a couple pictures while I'm packing? And that was one of them.
Gotcha. All right, Mrs. Zodiac, you gotta.
I'm honestly kind of stumped because you're such a dynamic and unique individual that I feel like like I'm just thinking of like all the powerful forces that it could be. I mean, there's two signs that stick out to me, but that doesn't mean that's what you are. I would assume they're in your chart somewhere, but Aries and Taurus are the two things that keep like flying through my head just based on you're so fiery. Like there's so much confidence. There's so much like dominant energy that fire stands out to me. But Earth too with Taurus, because you said you were stubborn and like hardworking. So the Aries like impulsivity and like leader aspect, and then the Taurus with the hardworking thing behind the scenes stuff too. But I'm honestly kind of stumped because you have such a unique personality that I'm like,
you're not alone in that. I have never met a single person who has been able to accurately guess my sign in the first 3 guesses.
yeah.
So, it's really interesting. I literally just last night got those same 2 from a girl that I met, and she was like, no, this is what I think you are. And I was like, I mean, those are both, you know, in my chart. Yeah. But I am a Libra. And yeah. But I have always said that I am not a prototypical Libra. Like I have met other Libras, and I'm like, wow, we are so fucking different. Oh, sorry, I don't know if we're allowed.
No, you're fine. Listen, I have a Libra rising, and I am okay. But I get you because I'm a Cancer, and I don't track as a Cancer under any circumstances.
Exactly. So I'm a Libra and a Leo rising.
Okay, so the fire's there. What's your Mercury and what's your Mars? Do you know?
Oh, I would have to look it up. I'm not entirely sure. I did my whole birth chart, and I remember I read through all of it. And I was like, yeah, this is spot on for some of these, and then I totally forgot. But my partner is a Gemini Cancer cusp. So he's got like all the personality.
Wait, when's his birthday? So am I. I'm June 22nd.
No way. He is June 23rd.
Wow. I love him.
That's funny.
That's
I'm
awesome.
stuck on this photo because this is just
Yeah. Let me
this
zoom
is
in.
you.
So this photo, I love this photo. This is like one of my favorites. First of all, I loved what my hair was finally cooperating with me on that one. And the photographer on this is Dalton Campbell, and he is out of Austin, Texas. And actually, this photographer is the guy that I picked to shoot the lingerie campaign next week with me in Arizona because we jive so well. Like, he's an amazing photographer to work with.
I'm familiar with him, yeah.
Yeah, every time we work together, I walk away and I'm like blown away because I'm like, man, I felt so weird right then, just being myself and awkward. And then he makes this amazing art, and I'm just like, man, he crushes it.
He does really good work.
Yeah.
Well,
You
I
know,
like it too.
I'm tracking one Libra that you do have some interesting similarities to, and that's Halsey. Because I don't think she's like a typical Libra either.
She's a Libra. I did not know. I would have never guessed that. I love it, actually.
Same. So you guys must have some of the same other placements, because I think that she's kind of like a sweet little baby doll personality wise. So Libra makes sense there, but I don't know that her aesthetic is always Libra.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've always kind of viewed astrology as like a baseline starting point.
Yes.
And my whole goal is to kind of transcend stereotypes.
I get it.
It's not like an active thing where I'm like trying to. It's just like a natural thing where I recognize
I get it.
weaknesses in myself, and then try to address them so that either they're, not as prevalent, or they just don't get in the way as much.
That's crazy. Where is this?
I like it.
So that is the Space Net. That gets set up once a year. That's in Moab, Utah as well. And actually the clip that I was passing just then on the left, that's the other one that you showed where I'm jumping with the black and red hoodie.
Okay.
But a friend of mine, Andy Lewis, originally created the Space Net, and he is a base jumper, highliner, slackliner, just like an epic human. And he created that and started setting it up, and now it's become like a yearly thing, which is really cool to see.
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
I like this. I like when you do the running thing.
Yeah, I like to get separation. The further you are away from an object, the better. So getting a good push and gaining that separation just kind of gives you like a little bit more of a margin for error.
Wow.
All right, Jamie, I guess we need to go learn how to do this.
I can teach you. I can hook it up. I'll make it happen.
I am much more likely to ride dirt bikes or mountain bikes. Much more likely to do that.
I like
that stuff I can mess with. I'm jumping off of it. I'm gonna cheer you on though.
There you go. That photo is another one of my favorite photographers to work with. Her name is Francine Duffy, and on Instagram she's Raw Real Redefined.
Yeah, I featured her work quite a bit.
Yeah, she's amazing. And actually, the photo that you posted of me on the porch, you took that photo as well.
I mean, you just have such a striking look.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I changed my hair a lot, so that helps.
Yeah, no, but it's very cool. Oh, now this one looks like you're off a building on this one.
Yeah, so this one's in Malaysia, and this was a sanctioned event, and I was asked to be part of it. So you go out there, you jump in front of a crowd. Super unique jump to be able to jump a building in the middle of the day. Usually those ones are more on the illegal side, and you kind of sneak in at night and hope that you don't get caught.
Have you been caught before?
I have been caught one time, the day or a couple days after I turned 18. I was arrested for trespassing, and they tried to charge me.
I love that.
They tried to charge me with a felony of evading a peace officer, and I wasn't even running from the cop. I saw the cop and I was like, "Oh, I'm busted." But the guy, it's actually a like terrible story. He was super abusive, and he actually broke my nose, and he handcuffed me, and he kicked me in the sternum, and he broke my sternum. And I had bruises like all up and down my body from him grabbing me and dragging me around. And then he never filed the ticket, and he he wrote me a fake ticket. Is what happened.
So he was just looking to abuse you, essentially. I mean, that was his main thing.
Get a
I'm
little
just-
bit of aggression out, I think. Yeah.
Gross.
Wow.
I'm
It
just
was
thinking.
pretty terrible. I
Yeah.
was never scared of cops before, and then because I was like, oh, they're here to help, whatever, just really, really ignorant. And then after that experience, I got arrested at gunpoint. I wasn't running. I was abused, and then after I was in the back of the cop car for 6.5 hours, and he let me go. And then never filed the ticket. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm not down for this.
No,
But that's my only
awful.
experience, and that was a long time ago. So.
Wow.
I mean, the weird side of that is just the me imagining you jumping off of something and them considering you running, and I'm like, well, it's not really her. It's not really what that was.
Yeah.
So this is the Bradley.
No, that's not. That's actually somebody that I taught how to bake. A friend of ours, Pat. That's Bradley.
This is Bradley. Okay.
Yep, that's Bradley.
Oh yeah.
It's exactly what I expect him to look like.
Pretty much. Yep.
He's a handsome devil.
That's what I imagined.
Super fortunate that he lets me fuck around behind the camera, and I get to do photos of him because I think he's like totally gorgeous, and he would kill me if he heard me say that. But so I get to do a lot of photos of him too.
Oh, this is the one that you mentioned. There were guys just staring at you.
It was a group of elderly individuals. They were all in their 70s. And I looked up into my right and I saw them. They were on a hiking path probably 20 feet above me, and they were snickering and pointing at me while I was doing the photo.
That's funny.
And then as soon as I made eye contact with them, they waved at me and then kept hiking. But it was pretty funny to have elderly people being supportive of it rather than being offended by it.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yep.
Calling the cops.
Yep.
All right. This. Wow.
I always like these angles. I feel like they're super unique and give a really strange perspective.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they make my heart jump.
Like I would just get queasy looking over the edge of the rail, That is just crazy.
That's amazing.
It's a good time for sure. Yep, that's another Francine photo.
I just like the intensity that you always have in your pictures with the way you look, in your eyes.
Yeah, that's not something that I can really choose. It just happens, and in normal life people call it resting bitch face. But for some reason it translates really well into photos.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, no, that's amazing though. Oh, this one looks like another building. Oh, is that the one we've already seen?
That's another one in Malaysia.
Okay.
That's the KL Tower.
Wow.
Yep. So this one's a lot taller than the other one that you saw.
That's just crazy.
I'm just like amazed.
It's a good time. I really enjoy it.
Okay, gotta look at this one.
Yep. That's another self-portrait. That's at Bradley's dad's cabin down here in Texas, actually.
Oh, that's nice. Now, this is a rare one of you and someone else.
Wait, who's that?
I think we lost her.
Now it's just us looking at her pics.
Yep. Yep. Hopefully she'll come back. Which, by the way, while she's coming on, this is totally off the subject. But did you get my message about your OnlyFans?
I don't think so.
Oh no. Well, do you have like an auto reply when somebody subscribes to you?
Yes.
Okay. Because I knew you would have recognized who I was.
Oh, I did it. Okay, no, I haven't gone into the DMs in there.
I was like, oh my God, I'm looking at my co-host naked. Oh my God. But I had to do it because honestly it was your post on story. being all just having a bad day. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let her see that I subscribe to her thing.
I will see it whenever I get in there. It's been really hard for me to, because I don't. The thing is, when I reply to people in my messages there, aside from just that opening thing that people get sent when they subscribe, but I want to give thoughtful responses.
Right.
And I mentally have to be in the right place for that. You know what I mean? So I don't ever want to just like pop in there and go like, haha, yeah. Like, to, you know what I mean? I want to like give a paragraph of thoughtful response. So
Yeah.
I might not be the fastest response ever, but it's going to be meaningful whenever I do respond. So
No worries. No worries. But I was like,
otherwise,
my eyes.
I mean, I don't know what you were expecting on there.
I don't know. It's just weird when it's like a friend of yours, you know?
I know.
It's just weird.
I have quite a few guy friends of mine that subscribe and support. I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it.
By the way, for those of y'all that are listening on the podcast right now, we're just waiting for hopefully Claire to get back onto the show. She got kicked off apparently. Obviously, she was in a van, so it's not like she was in the best location. So we're going to give it another minute. But in the meantime, her website link and her Instagram link are on the caption. So we'd certainly encourage y'all to go check her out. All her videos of her doing her jumping and of course her fantastic modeling work as well.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask her, and I will ask her, you know, whenever she starts getting her property up and running,
Yeah.
we gotta go visit. We gotta
yeah.
check that out. That would be especially for our channel whenever we get that up and running. You know, that'd be something fun.
An artist community, like, come on. There's so much that can be done. That's amazing.
Oh, I know. That would be. We'd have to have like a permanent presence there. So
yeah.
You know,
build a cabin for us.
Yeah, exactly. No, we'd have to have a trailer.
Mm.
Yeah, we got to live like the natives do.
That makes sense. Maybe like a renovated Airstream would be a good idea.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like she's going to be able to join us again. So, but thank you guys for those of y'all that were tuning in. Obviously, again, follow Claire, the Bass Girl, on her Instagram and on her website. Amazing work that she does. And of course, we thank you for watching us. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and we will catch you guys. Anyway, yes, we will catch you guys on Tuesday for our next show. Thanks for watching.